I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about what you think about the future of the movie industry, particularly here in Louisiana and New Orleans, with the new tax credits and things like that that have been passed in the legislature recently.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic actually down here. I think that speaking to the future of the film industry, I think that it's going to be going similar directions to the future of the record industry. I think that the big you look at Disney's laying off people left and right. All the big studios are really starting to pare down because they're realizing that the huge overhead is only going to work for a little while longer. I think that what's happening is, you look at the music industry and all the big labels are only making money off of their giant artists that they can then sell 500,000 copies or more of. And the big studios are the same way. They are losing money if they're not making like $80 million and above. What's going to start happening, and the same thing is like the same way that all the indie labels are starting to come up, and while they might be making gajillions of dollars like the majors, they're making a living. They're actually supporting themselves or supporting their artists. And the same thing's happening with the film industry, is that a lot of the independent studios are having their insurgents, like Lionsgate and Think Film and all these kind of independent producers and distributors, because there's so many more eyeballs, so many more ways of actually getting these things out there, that it makes much more sense for these people to do something that's much more for a specific audience and have to keep the costs low because of that. So when you talk about Louisiana in particular, one of the things Louisiana has going for it is that it really is a huge cost savings for people to come down here and get the tax credits and work with the crews and everything like that are not going to be the same cost as shooting in Los Angeles or anything like that. One of my clients actually I'm working with is Element Pictures, and they've just done a big deal with Lyft for committing $200 million in production. So it's going to be that's all money that's going to be going specifically into Louisiana productions. So I think that as long as there's enough crews down here and as long as the costs stay low, I don't see how it could, not continue to go. There's enough fans of shooting down here. I know Lionsgate, for one, had just, they shot Pride down here, and I think they've got a few others slated to go down here, and everybody keeps coming back down here because they like the experience. So I think that there's enormous potential. One of the things, again, that I'm trying to do, mostly because I'm a fan of doing it, is again, pushing the music side of that and actually recording music. I've got a small picture that I'm working on that needed a bunch of music recorded down, recorded specifically. It's going to be blues and mambo and things like that. And I had the opportunity to maybe record in Los Angeles. We've got some different union issues in recording in Los Angeles, or record in Seattle. But if I've got the option, I figured I might as well go to Louisiana and record down here. It's just as easy to get a studio down here and have people record stuff up. In the age of the internet, you can start sending tracks back and forth and listen to it as it's going. So that's one of the things I'm working with Jay here on, is actually potentially putting together, a super group of people that we can go and record some really authentic, brand new blues stuff rather than having to license some stuff. So, I'm trying to promote more of that kind of an attitude and that kind of a business model for recording music, not just, a symphonic orchestral underscore. So if people, I know that Terrence Blanchard is now talking about maybe for one of his next movies recording the score down here as well. So, and it's about playing to Louisiana's strengths too. Obviously, you've got the best jazz musicians in the world. So if you're doing a jazz-based score, it's almost a no-brainer. Why don't you come down here, participate in the tax rebates, and do it down here? But it's just making sure that Hollywood knows that it's available.